If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch the entire show, all you got to do is tap that link in the bottom and it'll take you to the full show where you can ingest, get with every word that I had to say about all these games. So, Oz.com, tap that link, watch that full version, throw a like, throw a sub. See ya. And of course, thank you very much for watching. All right, let's move on. So we're going to move on to a game that is near and dear to my heart because this is a team and a program that loves to go north of the border when it comes to recruiting. And I think that when you look at Vermont going up against UMBC, this is a line that opened at -1 for Vermont and a total opened at 133. Now we're seeing 1.5s and 1s and a pick'em. And I'm seeing 132.5 to 133 on the total. With this Vermont team, it's going to be definitely a battle of who has their best players coming and giving their best performances. When you look at Vermont, they're going to be led by Ryan Davis and his 19 points and 7 rebounds a game. Steph Smith, the Ajax, Ontario Canadian, who is a three-point threat and needs to be more of an alpha scorer on this team. He's averaging 13 points and 80% from the free throw line. Lastly, Ben Shenungu. Ben Shenungu is probably the most important player in the backcourt for this Vermont team on a game-to-game basis. He is one of the strongest, toughest on-ball defenders in the America East. He is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate definitely this year and the last year. And I think that with his 10 points a game and his ability in the second half in the last 5 minutes to get to the free throw line and to make his free throws is going to be very critical. Him and Steph Smith are going to have to be key. And Ryan Davis, you know what? He's no slouch on the low block himself. With UMBC, this is a team that I've really liked to bet on. I've liked them better on the road than I've liked them at home. They're led by 5'2" floor general Darnell Rogers, who's averaging 10 points, 38% from the three-point line, 78% from the free throw line. RJ Adorock, the Brit, he's averaging 13 points, 40% from the three-point line, and 79% from the free throw line. And then the X factor for UMBC, and in a lot of games that they win, and they win by margin, Keandre Kennedy, who's only averaging 8 points, but at 93% at the free throw line, is a guy that can really expose defenses, can really slash to the rim, and get to the free throw line. I think that with this matchup, this is the premier matchup in the America East. And what do we know about betting and watching the America East? Home court means probably the least in all the conferences of Division I basketball. And I think that with this home court being for UMBC, I think it actually puts them at a disadvantage. We've seen UMBC do the majority of their work on the road, where they're 9-2 and 10-6 ATS overall, 6-11 to the under. Vermont, listen, they played a lot at home, but they've gone out on the road and they've smashed. And I think that they continue to do that. With Vermont, I think that home court, like I said, means very, very little. And by my numbers, I have Vermont as a 5-point first half advantage. I think that when it comes to all facets of their per possession and per game offensive stats, there's just advantages, whether it be from a field goal perspective, a 3-point per possession perspective, or a free throw per possession perspective. It all favors Vermont. They got clutch and lockdown 3-point defense, and they seem to dictate the tempo in all their games. I think that the game against Stony Brook really opened their eyes and at least opened up John Becker and the coaching staff's eyes to some of the blemishes that are going on. But I think it starts with getting Thomas Murphy more minutes and into the lineup. We saw his 3-point stroke really ignite this Vermont offense and keep them in the lead. And help them avoid the upset versus Stony Brook in that second game. I think that he's a critical piece. Vermont has to win the battle of turnovers. When they're taking the ball away from their opponent, that's when they're doing and playing their best basketball. They have amazing ball distribution. They have very good on-court chemistry and continuity with guys that are handling the ball. You can throw in Robin Duncan, Bailey Patella, Isaiah Powell. All these guys are making impacts on the defensive end, on the offensive end. And just intangibly, that isn't showing up on the box score. You have to watch these games to see how these guys are really falling into their roles. And I think that Vermont has tournament aspirations. And if this is a situation where we're going to see teams opt out because they rather take the shot with the committee at the at-large, well, this is a Vermont game that they have to win in order to be in a position to have that be applicable to them. I think that with good ball distribution and cleaning up the offensive glass, you're going to be able to limit the effectiveness of Daniel Akin, Dmitry Spesjovic, and Brandon Horvat. 3-point defense is key. If you can lock down the 3-point line against LJ Owens, Horvat, and Idle and Darnell Rogers, then you're winning this game. You're probably going to win this game comfortably. I line this game at about 6.5 points for Vermont. So obviously with this much value, in my opinion, it's really hard not to take them. So I'm going to take Vermont, and I'm going to line shop and find the best number. So bear with me as I ramble through these American legal U.S. books. Also gives me an opportunity to rest my voice. All right, so the best line that I can get right now is going to be, well, let's just check this out again. What does Circa have? That is the question. All right, so Circa has the best line. They have Pick'em minus 110. That's what I'm going to take. So Vermont, Pick'em minus 110, available at Circa. Good old Circa. That's where the high rollers go. I'm not a high roller, but I'm a volume player, so I can ball.